Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to take one story, one account, and really just dive deep into it, see what we can pull out of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like a deep dive, you could say.
Exactly, a deep dive. So today's deep dive is going to center on a story about Rabbi נחman of Breslov. And it was recorded by Rabbi Yitzchak.
And just to set the stage a little
Yeah.
bit, Rabbi נחman was no simple man. He was actually the grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism.
Oh, wow. So yeah, this is coming from a real, a major figure.
Definitely. And the story itself revolves around a dream that Rabbi נחman had where his grandfather appeared to him. And in this dream, his grandfather gives him a very specific instruction.
Okay, I'm hooked already. What was the instruction?
He told Rabbi נחman to pay close attention to what he eats.
Interesting. But wouldn't someone like Rabbi נחman, someone so spiritual already be mindful of what he eats?
Right? That's what makes this so fascinating. There's obviously a deeper meaning here, something beyond the simple act of eating. And that's what we're going to try to uncover today.
I'm intrigued. Let's dive in.
So the story starts with Rabbi נחman taking this dream very seriously. He trusted his dreams, especially those involving his grandfather. He had learned from experience that these dreams were truthful and held deep meaning.
He didn't just brush it off as, just a random dream.
Not at all. He was actually quite confused by the instruction. The text says, meaning he didn't understand what paying attention to what one eats really meant in this context.
It must have felt like there was something he was missing, right? Like a puzzle piece.
Exactly. And he really struggled with this. The story tells us that he went to the mikveh, recited songs with an intense focus, and even prayed specifically for clarity on this matter.
Wow, he was really putting in the effort to understand this.
He was. And it wasn't just a passing curiosity. The text mentions how distressed he was and his inability to understand. It was really weighing on him.
So what happened next? Did he eventually figure it out?
Well, after all this effort, he has another dream. And once again, his grandfather appears.
Okay, this is getting interesting. What happened in the second dream?
This time, the meaning starts to become a little clearer. His grandfather tells him that he is meant to receive the Torah. And then he makes a very specific connection.
What kind of connection?
He tells him that the Torah was given to those who ate the manna in the desert.
I see. So he's linking receiving the Torah to the experience of eating the manna.
Exactly. And this is a really profound connection. You see, manna wasn't just food. It was a symbol of complete reliance on God, a symbol of trusting in divine providence.
So is he saying that Rabbi נחman needs to cultivate that same kind of trust and receptivity in order to receive the Torah?
I think it's a very insightful interpretation. The dream seems to be suggesting that inner preparation is just as important as any outward action. But even with this revelation, Rabbi נחman is still wrestling with that initial instruction. How does one actually pay attention to eating in this deep spiritual sense?
Okay, so what did he do? How did he prepare himself?
Well, he remembered a midrash, a rabbinic interpretation of Scripture that talks about the people who ate the manna. And the midrash says that they fasted the day before eating the manna.
Why did they fast?
To purify their bodies, to cleanse their digestive systems in preparation for this holy food.
So Rabbi נחman is thinking about his body as a vessel for something sacred. He's not just focused on the physical act of eating, but on the state of the vessel itself.
Right. And you know what he does? He decides to take a strong laxative.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, the text even says that he had no mercy on himself because he wanted to be completely purified.
That's pretty intense.
It was. But even after all that, he still wasn't satisfied.
What do you mean? I mean, he took a laxative. What else could he do?
Yeah. Well, he was concerned about the komalasasin, which you could understand as like the most subtle essence of blood or nutrients remaining in his body from previous meals.
So even after physically purging himself, he was still worried about these subtle impurities.
Yes. And he believed that fasting was the only way to fully cleanse this essence. He was exhausted from the laxative, but he was determined to purify himself completely.
It really shows how deeply he believed in the connection between the physical and the spiritual.
Absolutely. And then he has a third dream. In this dream, his grandfather comes to him and says, I'll take you to the river Danur to purify the remaining Kolatira.
The river Danur, what's that?
It's a powerful concept in Kabbalah. It's a river of fire emanating from the divine. It purifies souls.
Whoa, a river of fire. That sounds intense.
It is. And the journey to the river is described as being filled with wondrous new things. So it's not just a physical journey, it's a journey into a higher realm of consciousness.
And then he enters the river Denor.
He does. And he's terrified. He's afraid of being completely annihilated, consumed by this fiery river.
I can only imagine what happens next.
He emerges from the river, completely unharmed. And when he wakes up, he feels like he's in a completely new world. Like everything has been transformed.
Wow, that's so powerful. Like he went through this intense purification process, and it completely changed his perception of reality.
Exactly. The text compares it to waking up from a really vivid dream. That feeling where the dream feels so real, even after you've woken up.
So what happens after this, after he wakes up?
We find his table set, but instead of bread, there's a bowl filled with Hebrew letters, all jumbled up and out of order.
Hebrew letters, what was he supposed to do with those?
We'll get to that. But here's the really interesting part. He's already recited the blessing for bread. The bread.
There's no bread.
Just letters. Right. And he's really distressed by this. He feels like he's made a blessing in vain.
So what happens? Does he just leave the letters there?
No. His grandfather appears to him again, but this time not in a dream. He appears in his waking reality.
Oh, wow, in person.
Yes. And his grandfather tells him that the blessing wasn't in vain, that the blessing applies to the letters as well.
So what does he do? Does he eat the letters?
He does. He eats every single letter, even the crumbs, like he was eating bread.
This is getting more and more surreal. What happens after he eats the letters?
He opens his mouth and the letters come out, but not in a jumbled mess. They come out in perfect order, forming the 10 Commandments. Seen it. Whoa. So he eats the letters and they transform into the very words of God. That's incredible.
And it doesn't stop there. The story says that in that moment, he saw the entire Torah, past, present, and future. He saw all the future generations of interpreters and leaders and all the new Torah insights that would be revealed over time.
It's like he received the entirety of Jewish wisdom in that one instant. Exactly. It's a powerful image of complete and total revelation. But the story isn't over yet. There's this enigmatic exchange about identity. Someone asks Rabbi נחman about the proximity of a certain individual.
Okay.
Rabbi נחman refuses to answer. He says that revealing it would be like denying his own self.
That's very cryptic. Who was this individual, and why was their identity so closely tied to Rabbi Nachman's own sense of self?
That's one of the mysteries the story leaves us with. It invites us to contemplate the nature of identity and the complex relationship between self and other.
It's like he's hinting at a deeper level of connection that goes beyond our everyday understanding.
Exactly. And then he says this really strange phrase. Oh, there is one who is be, who is one when he is there, he is also here. Or in another version, when he's here, he is also there.
That's a real head-scratcher. What does it all mean?
It's open to interpretation, but for me it speaks to a kind of unity and interconnectedness, a transcendence of space and time.
It's like he's trying to point to something that's beyond words, something that can only be experienced.
Maybe. But here's the thing. Despite the deeply personal nature of this experience, Rabbi נחman insisted that this story be shared. He told his students to repeat it and to tell it to others.
Why? Why share something so personal and potentially difficult to understand?
He said that it was important not just for those who were there, but for everyone. And he predicted that its true significance would only become clear over time.
So he believed this story held a message for all of us, even though we weren't there to experience it ourselves.
Yes. And then there's this final detail that really adds another layer of complexity. He warns his listeners not to tell the story to outsiders.
Outsiders? Who are the outsiders in this context?
That's not entirely clear. But it suggests that he believed this story could be misunderstood or misused if it fell into the wrong hands. He even says that his love for his students would be diminished if they disobeyed him.
Wow. So he was really serious about keeping the story within a certain circle.
He was. And to make sure everyone understood the gravity of his instruction, he had everyone present act as guarantors, pledging not to reveal the story to outsiders. And there was even a witness to this declaration.
So this story, a story about paying attention to what you eat, unfolds into this incredible journey of purification, revelation, and ultimately the transmission of a sacred teaching. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. It challenges us to think about our relationship with food, with knowledge, with the divine. It's a story that stays with you long after you've heard it.
And it leaves us with so many questions. What does it truly mean to purify ourselves? What is the nature of this revelation that Rabbi נחman experienced? And why was it so important to keep this story secret?
Those are questions each of us has to grapple with on our own.
Yeah.
But I think the story itself provides some clues. It suggests that true understanding requires preparation. It requires a willingness to let go of our preconceived notions and to open ourselves to the possibility of the extraordinary.
It's a call to pay attention not just to what we eat, but to everything we consume, to the ideas, the beliefs, the stories that shape our lives.
And ultimately, it's a story about the power of transmission, the way that knowledge and wisdom can be passed down through generations, even through something as simple as a story.
So to all of you listening, I want to leave you with this question. What resonates with you most from this story? What does it mean to you to pay attention to what you consume? And how can we apply the lessons of this story to our own lives?
Keep those questions in mind. Keep reflecting on this story and see where it takes you.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.